بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإن كان أحدهما مريضا أو صائما في رمضان أو محرما بحج فرض أو نفل أو بعمرة أو كانت حائضا فليست الخلوة صحيحة. So explaining that khalwat is seclusion according to Ahnaf, that would make the meher, that would make full meher become wajib, right? So if one of them two, however, they went into khalwat, but one of them two are sick, or one of them two are fasting in the month of Ramadan, or he's got the ihram on for Hajj, Farz Hajj or Nafil Hajj, or he's got ihram on for Umrah, or she is in the state of Hajj, then the khalwat is not correct. That seclusion is not correct. حتى لو طلقها كان لها نصف المهر. So much so that if he divorces her, she will only get half the meher. لأن هذه الأشياء موانع, because these things are preventers, obstacles from wati. It won't allow you to make wati. أما المرض فالمراد منه ما يمنع الجماع أو يلحقه به ضرر. As of sickness, so what is meant from that is that sickness that will stop jima, right? Or harm will be attached with the person, right? Uh, you understand? If he engages in jima, he'll become more sick. وَقِيلَ مَرَضُهُ لَا يَعْرِي أَنْ تَقْصِيرٍ وَفُتُورٍ. And it is said that the sickness of a man is not free from weakness and and laziness. You understand? Weakness, yeah, just weakness. A man when he's sick, then he doesn't have the strength, right? So he can't make jima. وهذا التفصيل في مرضها, and this explanation is regards to her sickness. So what they're saying here now, from Wakila, they're saying any sickness of a man will declare the seclusion invalid, right? But this explanation here, ما يمنع الجماع أو يلحق بضرر ضرر, that is explanation for her sickness. In other words, she's so sick that it stops jima or it will cause harm, right? But the man, any sickness will stop jima, right? Because any sickness of his will stop him from wati. وأما صوم رمضان لما يلزمه من القضاء والكفارة. As of the fasting of Ramadan, because of what is binding upon him from qaza and kafara. In others, even if he goes into seclusion and now if he makes wati, then he's going to have to pay qaza and kafara. That will stop him. والإحرام لما يلزمه من الدم وفساد النسك والقضاء. And being in the ihram, whether it's for umrah or hajj, right? Because of what becomes necessary upon him from paying a dam, sacrificing a sheep or camel, whatever it is, and corruption of the ritual. In other words, his hajj or his umrah will now be broken, and he still has to make qaza, right? وَالْحَيْزُ مَانِعٌ تَبْعًا وَشَرْعًا. And being in the state of haze, that stops a person uh, naturally and from the side of the Sharia to not allow to make wati, and also naturally a person doesn't want to make wati. وإن كان أحدهما صائما تطوعا فلها المهر كله. Any one of them are fasting nafil fast, then for her is the full meher. لأنه يباح له الإفطار من غير عذر في رواية المنتقي, because breaking the fast is permissible for him without an excuse in the riwayat of muntaqi. In other words, just one riwayat, it says that you can just break your nafil fast without an excuse. So that's not the fatwa. All right. وَهَذَا الْقَوْلُ فِي الْمَهْرِ هُوَ الصَّحِيحُ. So this qawl in regards to meher, it is correct. In other words, we take that qawl for meher. So we say no. Because there's a riwayat that you can break your fast without an excuse, so that will not stop the seclusion from being correct, right? And valid. وصوم القضاء والمنزور كالتطوع في رواية لأنه لا كفارة فيه. And they say the fast of qadha and the fast of nazar, oath, right, is like the nafil fast in one riwayat, because there is no kafara in it. So this riwayat is telling you here that if a person is fasting qaza or he's got fasting oath, then just like nafil, it won't break or it won't render the seclusion invalid. والصلاة بمنزلة الصوم فرضها كفرضه ونفلها كنفله. And salah is on the rank of fasting. Each farz is like each farz and each nafil is like each nafil. You understand? So what did we say about fast? When it is a farz fast, Ramadan, then it will stop you. So likewise, the inseclusion, but the one is engaged in farz fast, then that seclusion is not valid. But if he's engaged in nafil fast, then that seclusion is valid. You understand it? Right. وإذا خلى المجبوب بامرأته ثم طلقها فلها كمال المهر عند أبي حنيفة رحمة الله عليه. And when the majboob, who's the majboob? هو مقطوع الذكر والخصيتين. His zakar is also cut off and his testicles, right? So nevertheless, when he goes into seclusion with the woman, then he divorces her. Then for her, she'll get full meher according to Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi. وَقَالَ عَلَيْهِ نِصْفُ الْمَهْرِ. And Saibain say no, only upon him is only half the meher. لِأَنَّهُ أَعْجَزُ مِنَ الْمَرِيضِ. Because a majboob is more hopeless or more unable than a sick person. More unable than a sick person. بِخِلَافِ الْإِنِّينَ. Contrary to the one who's impotent now, right? So the impotent man is the one he's got everything, but it's just that his instrument is not working, right? لأن الحكم أدير على سلامة الآلة, because the ruling is rotates upon the instrument being intact, right? And here the instrument, Saibain is saying, the instrument is not intact for the majboob. For the innin, the instrument is intact. It's just that it's not working. Majboob, the instrument is completely broken down, right? So therefore, they make a distinction between a majboob and an innin. So they say, in the case of majboob, the khalwat is not sahih. ولأبي حنيفة رحمة الله أن المستحق عليها التسليم في حق السحق وقد أتت به. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi's dalil is that the thing that's wajib upon her is to hand herself over in the right of rubbing. And she did that. In other words, Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah is saying that yes, the majboob can't do anything, but she handed herself over, which is her responsibility and her duty. So she handed herself over, and because she handed herself over, yes, he cannot do anything. He can only do maybe some rubbing, and therefore she did what she's supposed to do. So therefore she must get full meher. Right. قال وعليها العدة في جميع هذه المسائل احتياطا استحسانا لتوهم الشغل. Right. And upon her is iddat in all these masail out of precaution, out of istihsan, due to the possibility of the womb being engaged. Right. So what they're saying here is just now, even there where they say the seclusion is not sahih. You understand? Even where they say the seclusion is not sahih, they also full iddat. Full iddat, right? Why? Just because out of precaution, right? وَالْإِدَّةُ حَقُّ الشَّرْعِ وَالْوَلَدِ. The iddat is the right of the Shariat and the right of the child, right? It's the right of the Sharia. Why iddat? Why are you having it? Because the Sharia says you must go into iddat. And why also having it is because the possibility of the child, maybe there's a child inside there. So that's the right of the child also. فَلَا يُصَدَّقُ فِي إِبْطَالِ حَقِّ الْغَيْرِ. So this husband and wife now will not be believed in cancelling the right of others. Everybody saw them going into seclusion. You understand it? Everybody saw them going to seclusion, but they saying no. One was saying no. I was in ihram. You understand? So that would be applied to the meher, yes. But in the right of others now, the iddat is the right of others, so she has to observe the full iddat. بخلاف المهر لأنه مال لا يحتاط في إيجابه. Contrary to meher, because this is wealth and this precaution is not taken in making it wajib. So therefore, you don't have to take precaution to make meher wajib because it is wealth. وذكر القدوري في شرحه أن المانع إذا إن كان شرعيا تجب العدة. And he mentions Imam Quduri mentions in his sharah, right, that the preventer, if it is a shari preventer, then iddat is wajib لثبوت التمكن حقيقة, due to the establishment of the ability in reality. In other words, what he's saying here is that if the thing that's preventing the seclusion here is a shari preventer, like for example in the state of ihram, right? So he says then iddat is wajib. Why? Because physically they're able to do the wati, right? وإن كان حقيقيا كالمرض والصغر لا تجب لعدم التمكن حقيقة. And if the preventer is a physical preventer, like sickness, so you know the person is sick, jima is not possible, right? Or the person is small, jima is not possible, then the iddat is not wajib due to the not having the ability in reality. قال وتستحب المتعة لكل مطلقة إلا لمطلقة واحدة وهي التي طلق الزوج قبل الدخول بها وقد سمى لها مهرا. And mut'a is mustahab for every divorced woman, right? So the set of clothes is mustahab for every divorced woman, except for one divorced woman. And she is the one who the husband divorced her before dukhul with her, and he had mentioned for her meher. So that's the one where mut'a is wajib. That's the one way the set of clothes is wajib. The divorced her before, no, sorry. وَقَدْ سَمَّى لَهَا, no. So here they saying, وَسَمَّى لَهَا مِهْرًا. Now in Asha they say, yeah, it should be, لَمْ يُسَمِّ لَهَا الْمِهْرَ. He didn't mention for her meher. Then the ibadat says right. So in other words, for all the other divorces, it's mustahab to give her, together with the meher you're giving her, sometimes you have to give a full meher, sometimes you have to give a half meher, sometimes you have to give a meher misal. In all these cases, these three cases here, to give the set of clothes extra is mustahab, right? But for this one, he didn't mention for her meher and he divorced her before the dukhul. Then today to give a set of clothes is wajib, right? وقال الشافعي رحمه الله تجب لكل مطلقة إلا لهذه. Imam Shafi Rahmullah says that the set of clothes is wajib for every divorced woman, except for this, right? Except for this woman here, who has been mentioned. لأنها وجبت صلة من الزوج. Right, let's look at this dalil. Because this set of clothes is wajib as a gift from the husband. لأنه أوحشها بالفراق. Because he has put her into loneliness by separation. إلا أن في هذه السورة نصف المهر طريقة المتعة. Except you say in this situation, right? Half the meher is the way of mut'ah, right? Half the meher is the way of mut'ah. So if you take it now, what is meaning here now? وَقَدْ طَلَّقَهَا بِقَدْرِ الدُّخُولِ بِهَا وَقَدْ سَمَّى لَهَا. Now he takes it on وَقَدْ سَمَّى لَهَا meher, right? So then they say here now, Imam Shafi'i says, half the meher is already there. You understand? That becomes that becomes necessary, right? It becomes necessary. How much? Half the meher. So she's already got half the meher, right? So he doesn't. So it's not wajib to give her now a set of clothes also. That's what Imam Shafi Rahmallah is saying. Leave it till there. We'll just explain it a little. But this particular masla is going to be confusing because they've got in the Asha there, they've got the whole thing upside down there. But you can just look at the dalils and you can come to some understanding via the dalils.